Back in the late 70s, the early 80s, I questioned the globe. And questioned it, and questioned it. I questioned it so much that certain teachers, their over-enthusiastic ways for spewing nonsense, giving me explanations and pointing at cartoons, just wasn't cutting it. And as a result, those teachers got triggered. They couldn't provide science to back the globe. So what they did was provide punishment for someone who wouldn't go along with it. So I'd have to, in certain classes, hold a book from every individual in that class, stand in the corner, facing into the corner, away from the class, holding a book, a tower of books from everyone. It didn't make the globe scientifically true, but what it did do was give me a very, very strong physical foundation and an iron will. So that is why I have more reason than most for wanting the globe to be true, because I got punished for questioning it. And of course this subject came up all these years later, and surprise, surprise, it turns out I was right all along. There was a kid I knew instinctively the globe was horse shit of the highest order. I never fully went along with it, but I grew up and obviously experienced my life and got on with things. But the globe was never proven to me. I never truly accepted it. I found old maps fascinating. We were even taught the old Hebrew concept of the earth, which I found fascinating and would look at for hours, the illustrations. Again, not making any claims, but clearly as a young man that made a lot more sense to me than the globe, which I knew instinctively. And I think most of us can remember back to questioning this stuff and thinking, have a word. Clearly, all these years later, it's ridiculous. So when this subject came back up in 2014, instinctively, I knew from my years of operating tower cranes that the globe was ridiculous. But I had a lot of internal battles to fight because of the ego, because of the history of being punished back in the day. And there's a couple of other things as well that I'm not quite going to go into this time today. But it made it quite difficult for me to overcome the internal voice, the inner voice, should we say. Because there was a lot of resistance. And that was, of course, being right and being punished. That made it quite a difficult battle. So I searched high and low for globe evidence. I stretched and checked probably more than most. Even though I knew straight off the bat from my experiences operating cranes that I knew it was ridiculous, I desperately wanted to find globe evidence. I sifted through all the horse shit, all the bullshit, all the strawman maps, models, the misrepresentations. You have to go through a journey of wafting through all sorts of crap, which is why it really does require good discernment, honesty, and just applying common sense and logic. With that, and you standing by the things that are true, you can't be fooled. The ego is your biggest foe, and that was mine back in the day, simply because of the attachments, the stories from when I was a young kid, questioning this and being punished for essentially calling it out, and I was actually right all along. You can sort of hear it in my early videos. There's a bit of sting in the voice. It's fair to say I was pissed off. I'm very much at peace with it now. But that is why I had more reasons for wanting the globe to be true than most. Because I got punished for calling this crap out back in the day. Of course, all these years later, once I addressed it, I did my observations, I thought things through. Of course, I looked for globe practicality, non-existence, every single bit of demonstrable science that isn't of the sophist pantomime style tells us the globe's impossible. And I chose to do the honest thing, the scientific thing, and simply stand by the things that can be demonstrated. And those things alone tell me the globe's impossible, and that the earth is a level plane as such. With hills, highs, lows, valleys. But it's a level plane. People in Australia aren't upside down in relation to me. That's clearly ridiculous, scientifically impossible. You've only got to look at the globe evidence, the globe representatives online. None of them I've got any respect for. They're all dishonest, I'm afraid, even if they're unaware of it because they're ruled by the ego and they don't understand their own mind. I've said it before, I highly recommend meditation for understanding the feelings, the responses your own body reacts and gives you to certain situations. You become more aware of yourself, and as a result, you're able to become more honest with yourself. If you can't be honest to yourself, then who can you be honest to? Yeah? And what more scientific, what more honest way is there by standing by the things that are demonstrably true? Doesn't matter how difficult that may be, because of your bias, you should stand by the things that are scientifically demonstrably true. That's honest, true, real science. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that with you. Part of the journey, some history. Perhaps now some of the globies can understand why there was a bit of a sting in my tail in the early days. I got punished for calling this globe horseshit out, and I was right all along. But anyway, like I said, I'm at peace with it now. I'm still quite vocal online, as you know, and will continue to be, and in real life I'm highlighting and waking people up left, right and centre with simplistic truths. There's no misrepresentations here, just plenty of space bashing and fundamentals. Have a good one, everyone.